If you were born in July, your birthstone is none other than the ruby, a truly special mineral. This dazzling red gemstone is more than just a piece of jewelry. It's a natural creation formed deep within the Earth's crust, under extreme conditions, which was born under extraordinary circumstances, combining toughness with breathtaking beauty. Each ruby crystal tells a unique chapter of Earth's geological past, while for thousands of years it has been revered as a symbol of power, passion, and spiritual strength. From the tombs of pharaohs to today's modern luxury jewelry, the ruby has accompanied humanity's history, and jewelers of every era have discovered in it that unmatched harmony that combines beauty and durability. Chemically, ruby is aluminum oxide. This means it's made of the same material as colorless corundum or blue sapphire. The only difference is one element, and that's chromium. The ruby gets its special red color from tiny bits of chromium, which replace the aluminum atoms in the crystal structure. How much chromium is in it decides how strong the color is. The more chromium there is, the deeper and richer the red color will be. Rubies are super hard, scoring a 9 on the Mohs scale. This makes it the second hardest natural mineral, right after diamond. This means it can handle almost anything and will keep its original sparkle and beauty for hundreds of years. The creation of a ruby is a true earthly drama, happening deep inside the earth, under conditions you can barely imagine. Rubies are born in what we call metamorphic rocks. These are rocks that have been changed by huge pressure and heat deep down in the earth's crust. Imagine continents crashing into each other, mountain ranges rising up, and rocks changing over millions of years. In this hot, high-pressure place where many minerals would break down or melt, ruby crystals slowly and patiently grow. The most valuable rubies form in a special kind of marble that's rich in aluminum and low in silicon and calcium. This type of marble is rare in nature, but sometimes they can also be found in gneiss. In these rocks, where the right mix of chemicals, temperature and pressure come together, clear, large ruby crystals can form. These are the ones that later become the world's most expensive jewelry. During this process, aluminum oxide forms crystals, and as chromium atoms get mixed in, they give the ruby its famous red color. This process, happening in nature's laboratory for millions of years, is what makes natural rubies so rare and valuable. It's a process as precise as a master chemist's work, but nature's laboratory is deep in the Earth's crust, and the work takes millions of years. The conditions for their creation are very specific. A unique combination of the right temperature, pressure, chemical makeup, and time is needed. That's why natural rubies are quite rare, which also explains their special value. The color of a ruby is as rich as a painter's palette. It has every shade, from the palest pink to the deepest burgundy. There's a wide range of colors, but one special shade stands out above all others: pigeon blood red. This name wasn't chosen by chance. This intense, pure red color is so clear and deep that it seems to glow from within, while subtle blue reflections make it even more appealing. When an expert looks at a ruby, they mainly check for how even and rich the color is. In a valuable ruby, the color is spread out evenly, with no spots or faded parts, and the richness is like the red sky in a perfect sunset. One of the most interesting things about natural rubies is that almost all of them have tiny flaws inside, which are like unique fingerprints for each stone. The most common type of flaw in a ruby is called silk, which is made of tiny rutile needles. These fine, thread-like flaws look like silk fabric, and they are often found in groups, in parallel lines within the crystal. The rutile needles are arranged in 3 main directions inside the ruby, and this organized placement is what causes asterism, or the star effect, in star rubies. These natural inclusions not only prove their natural origin without a doubt, but they also give each stone its own unique fingerprint. Rubies can also have crystal inclusions, needle-like formations, fluid inclusions, and what we call fingerprint patterns. Fingerprint inclusions in the world of rubies are as special as human fingerprints. These special patterns show up when the ruby crystal grows and gets cracks or breaks, which then heal naturally. The process is like how a wound heals in the human body. When a crack forms in a ruby crystal, The high heat and pressure deep inside the Earth's crust cause minerals from the surrounding rock to dissolve. These dissolved minerals then seep into the cracks. During this process, the cracks slowly fill up, and the stone practically welds itself back together. The result is a pattern that really looks like a tiny fingerprint, made of small dots, lines, and branches that connect and form a complex network. These patterns are often clear or somewhat clear, and when you look at them with the right light, it looks like tiny streams or veins flowing inside the ruby. Fingerprint inclusions are also very helpful for gemologists because they help tell the difference between natural rubies and man-made ones, and often tell us where the stone came from. Every natural ruby has a unique fingerprint pattern, just like human fingerprints. No two are exactly alike in the world. There are no two rubies in the world that have exactly the same inclusions. Experts have learned to love these natural flaws because they are what make each ruby special and one of a kind. They also help gemologists tell natural stones from man-made ones. A ruby's outside looks like perfectly polished glass, glowing from the inside. It has a glassy shine and it's clear or see-through. When light goes through it, every ray comes back stronger. In nature, ruby crystals are truly amazing geometric wonders. They often show up as hexagonal columns, almost like an ancient builder designed them, and they have pyramid-shaped tops that finish off their structure. These natural shapes are so perfect at first glance, they might seem man-made, but they are actually the result of millions of years of nature's work. The surface of natural rubies tells the exciting story of how they were made. It's often bumpy, with tiny cracks and natural breaks, all showing the dramatic things that happen deep inside the Earth's crust. These scars aren't flaws, but proof of the huge power that made them. But when a ruby gets into the hands of a skilled craftsman, that's when the real change begins. Cut rubies are most often shaped into ovals, cushions, or emerald cuts. Each shape shows off the color and inner light of the stone in a different way. The soft lines of the oval cut show off the ruby's natural grace. The cushion cut gives it an old-fashioned charm, while the sharp angles of the emerald cut are a popular choice for modern designs. The art of cutting is all about the master finding that one perfect shape that best shows off the unique qualities of each stone. You can't tell the story of the ruby without talking about the amazing places where these red treasures come from, deep within the earth. The most important places where rubies are found, like Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Madagascar, Mozambique, and Tanzania, all have special ground conditions that allowed this amazing gemstone to form. But Myanmar's Mogok Valley is more important than all other places where rubies are found. This far-off valley, hidden among mountains, is like the holy land of rubies. The rubies found here, in the heart of old Burma, are thought to be the best in the world, especially those famous pigeon blood-coloured ones, which have amazed experts for generations. Mogok rubies are so clear and have such a strong colour that they almost seem to glow from the inside. Sri Lanka, the island of old Ceylon, gives the world rubies with a completely different look. These are usually lighter in colour than their Myanmar relatives, but their crystal clear quality is almost unbelievable. Sri Lankan rubies are as clear as the finest crystal glass, and their light is soft and romantic. Thai rubies, on the other hand, have a darker, deeper look, often with a brownish tint that gives them a special warmth. These stones are as rich and full of colour as a deep red wine. The discovery of the African continent opened a new chapter in the story of the ruby. Madagascar, Mozambique, and Tanzania produce stones of various colours and qualities, showing that the variety of rubies is almost endless. Each place where rubies are found gives them a unique geological fingerprint, so an experienced expert can often tell where a stone came from just by its colour and features. Rubies are not just pretty, they're also practical. Because they're so hard and their colour stays true, they make perfect gemstones for jewellery. They're like a friend that keeps its beauty and sparkle for hundreds of years. When it comes to the ruby's optical properties, it's worth mentioning pleochroism. Even though it's a weak or medium effect, you can still see it. This means that if you look at it from different crystal directions, you might see slightly different shades of color, like red-orange and red-purple tones. This optical trick happens because the ruby's crystal structure absorbs light differently along its various axes. But the ruby's true special optical feature isn't pleochroism. It's a much more amazing sight, asterism, also known as the star effect. This special light show happens when tiny rutile needles inside the ruby, arranged neatly in 3 directions, what experts call silk, reflect the light. This natural network of inclusions creates a 6-pointed star on the surface of the stone, which moves across the ruby's curved surface as the light source moves. Star rubies are cut in a cabochon style, which means they have a smooth, rounded top. This shape gives the perfect stage for that mesmerizing star effect. This type of cut is like a tiny lens that gathers light and shows off the hidden star inside the ruby. For ancient civilizations, the ruby was way more than just a pretty gem. They saw it as a symbol of power and strong feelings. In the Sanskrit language, they called it Ratnaraj, which means king of gems. That really shows how much they valued it. In that culture, every stone had its own meaning, but the ruby really stood out. They believed it had a special power from the gods. In Hindu stories, they thought that an endless fire burned inside the ruby, a fire that never went out, and this inner flame was what gave the stone life. Legends say this fire was a piece of the god Agni, the god of fire, who found a home inside the ruby crystal. Roman scholars even thought that the ruby glowed with its own light, even in the dark. So they often used it instead of lamps in religious ceremonies. They believed its light was more godly than any earthly flame. The richer Romans even built rooms decorated with rubies, hoping these stones would fill the space with a special glow. Back then, people didn't just wear rubies as jewelry. They saw them as a kind of personal sun, bringing constant light and warmth into their lives. In medieval Europe, the ruby took on new meaning. In Christian symbolism, it became a sign of Christ's blood and self-sacrifice. Rubies were often placed in the crowns, scepters, and rings of kings and nobles, not just for their beauty, but also because people believed they offered mystical protection. People believed that rubies protected them from sickness and bad intentions. During times of plague and other diseases, this belief gave them real hope. A ruler wearing a crown with a ruby was seen as having not only earthly power but also divine protection. In noble courts, owning a ruby was a true status symbol. The value of such a ring was often worth an entire estate. It's no surprise that they were often used as diplomatic gifts. Many times a single ruby could decide peace or war. Medieval writings tell many stories about how giving a particularly beautiful ruby changed history, by sealing alliances or preventing wars. In the 18th and 19th centuries, rubies weren't just found in royal and fancy jewelry. They were also one of the most stunning gemstones that showed how much jewelry making had grown and changed during that time. During the Georgian era, rubies were often mixed with diamonds, gold, or silver. They were set in detailed, balanced designs that showed off styles from ancient Greece and Rome. In these pieces, the bright red of the rubies stood out against the sparkle of the diamonds. This really showed how fancy and important these pieces were. In the 19th century, especially during the Victorian era, rubies became a favorite gem for romantic and sentimental jewelry. They were often used in heart-shaped necklaces, snake and flower designs, as well as in brooches and rings to show feelings like love and loyalty. Thanks to the Industrial Revolution and the discovery of new gold and gem mines, rubies became easier to get. This meant that not just the very rich, but also ordinary people could wear them. This made rubies even more popular during that time. Rubies were super popular in Victorian jewelry. Queen Victoria herself really loved rubies, which you can tell because she wore and collected many pieces with rubies. The royal ruby necklace bought by Prince Albert originally had opals, but later Queen Alexandra had the stones changed to rubies because she thought opals brought bad luck. Queen Victoria clearly understood that jewelry could carry special meanings. She especially loved rubies as a symbol of passion and love. Victorian jewelry had many different styles, showing the popular art trends of the time. Romantic and sentimental jewelry had designs that showed deep feelings, and rubies fit perfectly into that world. The art styles around during the Victorian era were really important for jewelry, and rubies found their place in every single one of them. At the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century, the Art Nouveau movement changed how rubies were used in jewelry. Art Nouveau jewelers like René Lalique and Henri Weber liked to use shapes from nature and curvy lines. In this style, rubies often looked like flower petals, bird feathers, or other things from nature. Art Nouveau ruby jewelry was usually not perfectly even on both sides, and it showed off the natural shape of the stone instead of being cut in a fancy way. Combining enamel and gold with rubies was very popular, making pieces that looked more like art than regular jewelry. During the Art Deco period in the 1920s and 1930s, the ruby became important again, but this time in a world of straight lines and simple shapes. Art Deco jewelers like Cartier, Van Cleef Arpels and Boucheron often used rubies with other stones to create strong contrasts, pairing them with white diamonds, black onyx, or green emeralds. Typical Art Deco ruby jewelry usually had angular or step cuts, and the stones were placed in exact geometric patterns. Art Deco ruby jewelry was often made with platinum, which was a perfect background for the ruby's bright red color. During this time, synthetic corundum, which is ruby and sapphire made in a lab, also started to become popular. Thanks to the Verneuil process, large amounts of synthetic rubies could be made starting from the early 20th century. These lab-made rubies look and are chemically almost exactly like natural ones. In Art Deco jewelry, especially for smaller decorative stones, synthetic rubies and sapphires were used more and more. This is because they were easier to get, had a more even color, and were cheaper than natural gemstones. So, in the colorful and striking jewelry of that time, you often find lab-made rubies or sapphires. This allowed designers to create bolder, larger, and more colorful pieces, while also keeping the jewelry affordable for more people. The belief in the spiritual properties of the ruby has lasted for thousands of years, and it's still a living tradition today, like an invisible bridge connecting the past to the present. In Eastern philosophies, the ruby is linked to the heart chakra, also known as the Anahata energy center. This center is located in the middle of the chest and is all about emotional balance, love, and empathy. It's said that the ruby's red color matches the energy of the heart chakra. It helps to clear out any energy blocks that stop your feelings from flowing freely. Wearing a ruby is supposedly like having an inner therapist. It helps you feel more confident and overcome fears and doubts. When it comes to leadership skills, the ruby is thought to be super valuable. People who believe in the power of stones say that the ruby helps you develop a charming personality, good decision-making skills, and the inner strength needed to inspire others. It's also said to boost creative energy. Artists, writers, and other creative people often wear rubies, hoping it will help them get through creative blocks and find new ideas. In meditation, rubies are especially popular with those who want to awaken their inner strength and passion. Meditators often hold a ruby in their hand or place it near their heart chakra while focusing on their breathing and feeling the stone's warmth. In tantric traditions, the ruby is also connected to awakening the Kundalini energy. This is a spiritual force that rests at the base of the spine, and with the right practices can awaken and rise to higher states of awareness. According to crystal healing traditions, the ruby helps your body's circulation and can even help with anemia. People who practice this believe that the ruby's energy helps your heart work better and makes you feel more lively overall. The ruby is also said to help with feeling down or sluggish, and it can make you feel more motivated and focused. In modern crystal healing, the ruby is often suggested for people who are starting new projects or going through big life changes. It's believed that the ruby makes you feel more confident and brave when you're facing tough situations. Traditionally, it's said to protect you from bad vibes and help you stay calm inside, even when things around you are crazy. Many people wear it when they need to make important decisions because they believe it helps them think more clearly and gives them inner strength. The ruby's energy is also said to boost your passion and joy for life, helping you get your zest for life back after tough times. It's often suggested for people who want to connect more with their own desires and reach their goals. Even today, the ruby still holds a special place in jewelers' workshops and in the hearts of collectors. Even though modern technology can now make synthetic rubies that are chemically and physically the same as natural ones, there's still something only nature's creation can have. Rubies, born from deep within the earth and shaped over millions of years, keep going up in value, especially the rare, untreated ones. This gemstone, with its timeless beauty, strength and magic, will always be one of the most wanted. Whether you wear it as a birthstone, keep it as an investment, or just enjoy looking at it, the ruby is not just a stone, it's a piece of earthly wonder that reminds us that the greatest treasures are often hidden deepest. If you liked this little trip into the world of rubies, subscribe to the channel and explore the secrets of gemstones with me, because every stone has its own story just waiting to be told. Thank you for joining me. See you in the next video.